All right, we are here live in a special podcast here for through the Bison Source and through myself. I am James Bell, and seeing if here we got on the line our special guest been on the show here before, and thankful that he's able to come on here once again, and that is Freeway Rick Ross. What's going on, brother? Just seeing here, we got Free Ray on the line.
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, what's going on there, brother? How's it been going?
Oh man, weather been good. Work hard.
Hey, I hear that. I hear that, man. We spoke briefly about what you have been doing here since last time we spoke through the podcast. Is you had been putting in work, signing a couple fighters, from a few months ago. But after that, you've kind of like added a few more people on. So I just wanted to catch up on that to see how that was going, among other things. So, how's it been going on the boxing front?
Well, you know what? I think it's coming along well. It's a matter of having to educate the fighters. A lot of times these fighters, they used to get money up front.
Yeah.
And what they don't understand is that when you take the money up front, it hurts you in the end. And just trying to get them educated on that, how that they can actually generate money outside the ring. A lot of them really don't understand that, the mentality that they have to have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like being a daddy all over again, because some of these guys are so green to how to actually make money, even though that's what they ask for. They ask the money, but they think that the only way you can get money is in a boxing ring.
Right.
Get hit or hit somebody. And I'm saying no. That once you do your work, you should be able to get money other ways than just inside the ring. And nobody's really teaching these guys that. And I think that it's important that they learn that there's actually other places that get money.
Yeah, exactly. And when we talk about the business of boxing, and I kind of like compare it a little bit to the NFL. And usually when people talk about the NFL, they say that the NFL means not for long. Well, in pro boxing, it's not that long either. And it's something where you could, have a very short career, whether it's like, 1 or 2 years, and you could be pretty much out the game. And then after that, if you don't have any other options, then you pretty much be, behind the eight ball, so to speak. So, creating programs for these pro boxers to have something alongside being a professional boxer would, give them those opportunities to make money outside of being a boxer. Because once you're in the boxing game, yeah, you're out there, fighting and things like that. But after that's all said and done, some of that gets taken away from you because the boxer's not putting in all the work in order for them to set up the fight, get them in a venue, and handle other things that the fighter doesn't have to worry about when it comes to the fight itself. So they have to have something else,
They should be.
So.
What they should be worried about. They should focus on every aspect of the business because, like with anything else, the actual people who actually do the work are usually the lowest paid
Right.
in that arena. Just like an artist, they don't make nowhere near the money record labels make.
Yep, exactly.
Some of these artists figured out how to do it on their own and started a new trend. Guys like Master P and Suge Knight, they taught the record business how to own your own masters and how to do things on your own.
Right.
And not sit around and wait for Uncle Universal to come and do everything for you.
Yep, exactly. And it's like, a lot of these young cats don't, understand that part of the business, and that, they need something, on the side there, for them to, you know, keep afloat. So I just, don't know why they don't get it at this particular point nowadays. You did bring up those examples there with like a Master P or Suge Knight, or someone in the music business that came up independently because they didn't want to have the record companies to control masters and everything like that. They wanted full control over it. So that's the whole thing about ownership, and how people have to understand how important it is to own everything that you could possibly own there, instead of having other people handle it there in that instance. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
yep.
But it's so easy to get relaxed, with somebody else, coming in and just cutting you a check.
Mm-hmm.
That you get used to that. They make it real easy, but you don't have to think. All you have to do is when you get ready to go buy a car, you call daddy, and daddy cut you a check, you go get the car, not knowing how much that car really cost you. You could have went and bought that car for yourself, and save yourself a lot of money, $200,000. But a lot of times, with our kids, coming from these ghettos, and not really having a father around the house, mother never did business, don't have anybody in the family that ever did any business. Because I was a victim of that. When I sold drugs, if I would have had somebody, in my family would have said, "Hey, Rick, why don't you open up a McDonald's? I'll go to school and learn how to run it. This is how much it costs.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're gonna get back." But so often, in our community, we don't get, the only people we get in our community, they got their hand out. Buy me a car. Give me 50,000. Nobody is really there to look out for the artist's best interest.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's like a lot of people want stuff now instead of seeing the big picture of being part of a project, or being in something where that you're there for the long run, but you also got to have alternatives out there. So it's not like you could just be with one thing and just think that that's going to guarantee you everything. It doesn't necessarily work that way. So with a lot of the young people out now, whether it's in boxing or music or whatever, like that can't be their singular project, because you could have other opportunities where you could make money where it doesn't have to be directly from boxing, but at least boxing could be a start to getting other things. Like for example, I think it's like the Charlo brothers, I think, have like a car dealership or some sort, something like that. Where they have other projects that they're working on, not just with their boxing success, but they also have success in other business ventures. So if they're able to do that, then by the time that they're done, even though they're like fairly young themselves, but by the time that they're done with boxing, they still have something where they could still make a good amount of money and still own it. So they still get something off of that without having to work as hard for it.
And boxing will help a car dealership, because people will come and buy from you because you're successful.
Mm-hmm.
While you're successful, you got to take advantage of that, to the fullest, because once you start losing, or you lose a couple fights, nobody want to have nothing to do with you. They don't want to come see you no more.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to pictures with you no more. Because everybody want to be with the winner.
Yeah.
So once you start losing, you definitely increase your chance of not being successful in other businesses.
Yeah, symbolism is a big factor in that with success. And the more success you have in one avenue, the more that you'll have in other avenues. I mean, you pretty much see like how commercials are out there for a lot of the athletes, and most of those athletes either are like champions, among the best in their game, or most valuable players or something like that. But you don't necessarily see those that are, on the downturn of their careers, or, someone that's like a third string, in football, or somebody that's like the 12th man in basketball or something like that. They don't really get those type of commercials out there. You always see like the number one and number two guy on the team. So as long as you have that position, you got to make the most out of it.
Absolutely. And what you're saying there is totally correct. I was telling somebody, giving them some tips on how they could increase their sponsorship, and they said they wanted to do it after boxing. I was like, well, nobody's gonna want to deal with you after boxing. While you the champ, while you got them belts, you got to work them belts. You got to let them belts take you to places that you couldn't go without them belts.
Mm-hmm.
And what I always try to do is I try to get the guys to do other businesses that would be to what they're doing now. Where you can kind of fit them in. For instance, with a boxer, I would try to have them doing some type of a workout commercial or something of that nature. Where it's still related to what they're doing, where they're not totally taken away from their main job, their day job.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. And
it's still tough to get guys to think outside the box. They're so locked in, and it's kind of like that with us as people. We've been through so much since we've been in this country. With slavery, with police brutality, social racism. Where you go into somewhere and you qualified, but they get a job to somebody who's less qualified only because of the skin of their color, and that stuff starts to take a toll on you to where you get a position where you just don't think that you can do it,
mm-hmm.
or that you should be able to do it, and we have to break that as a people.
Yeah, exactly. And it just goes into the whole thing with like you're talking about with the belts, like within the business of boxing, like when someone holds a title, whether it's world title or regional title or anything like that, like those fighters have to pay to actually keep those titles. So they have to pay a percentage out their purse to keep their title after they win it or after they retain it. So there's one way where they could make that money back. So why not take advantage of it, through like you said with the sponsorship deal or anything with like marketing to where they get that money back? Because they could spend like in essence of about like 30,000 to up to maybe 100,000, or in some cases millions to keep a belt. And they don't do anything in reference to, making that money back. Like, I mean, an example is like with Miguel Cotto. He had to, spend in excess of $1.1 million in order to keep a world title. And he was like, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to do that. But that's how much it could, possibly get up to in order for some of these fighters to keep those belts. So it's crazy in that instance. Another example is Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but the way that the game is,
Because they're the ones that everybody comes to see. They don't come to see that. I mean, well, I
yeah.
guess they do want to be a world champ.
Hmm.
It takes your status up, but I believe that the fighter should be more important than the belt. And part of that's because that they're not making stars. They really just letting guys fight whatever their reputation is in the ring, and then that's it. They don't take any time and any effort into making these guys uh, the kind of stars that they could be,
Right.
or that I think that they could be. And I could be. I never did it, so I could be thinking home. But my goal is I want to create somebody that is a star not only in the ring, but as well as outside the ring. I think that's where that's one of the things that boxing is missing right now. Most of the fighters, nobody knows them. Outside of boxing fanatics,
right.
Boxing fans. But I believe that if you're a great fighter, you're a world champ, that everybody should know who you are. They should be able to recognize you when they see you.
Right, exactly. And with the thing with the sport of boxing, there's only like a few fighters out there that are recognizable outside of the boxing ring. And the thing about it is like boxing, you could basically see those guys whether they're doing their thing or they're not. It's not like something like like football where you only recognize like a few people because they do have those commercials. But outside of that, all you recognize is either the helmet, the jersey, the number on the jersey or the name on the jersey, and that's pretty much it.
But when boxing is worse than that, they don't even recognize the number of the boxers.
Like, yeah.
Boxers don't even have jerseys that's famous.
Right.
They don't have famous jerseys. They don't have famous sweatshirts.
Oh. No marketing materials. Nothing like that. You might see like some fighters have some shirts out or something like that, but other than that, you really don't see that much of that going on. So it's like how else will people that are walking out in the street recognize you if you don't really have that? So it's kind of a tough situation for a lot of those fighters in that instance where they don't necessarily market themselves outside of the boxing ring, and you have those opportunities there through social media, through other means that you could get yourself visible. But if you're not doing what it takes for people to notice you, how are you going to expect to get the money that you want to get out of the sport or outside of the sport?
Right, I totally agree.
Yeah,
and that's what I plan on bringing to the sport. Guys who make more money outside of the ring than they make inside the ring. That's going to be one of my goals, is to see if I can generate more money out the ring than they can generate in the ring.
Yeah, I feel you. Now, I know that you are not just necessarily in the boxing business, but you also like have other programs going on as well. I think that you were kind of like speaking on it a little bit on your Instagram page. So could you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, after I saw what happened with George Floyd, one of my homies had called me who had just did 35 years in prison, and he was almost in tears. And he was talking about going to get him an AK. He was that upset, and almost as if he was ready to put it all on the line. And what I told him is that he was needed out here, and we need him out here. He has not only the strength, but also the smarts to help a lot of people out. And me and him started talking, and we figured out that one of the things that we needed as a community is we need an agenda. We don't know, as a people, we don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what our plan is. We don't know where we're trying to go. One guy trying to make the NFL, one trying to make the NBA, another one's trying to do it in boxing, one is trying to do it in acting, but none of us are working together coherently as a people. And we felt that we needed to put that together. So we started a little talk that we have on Zoom was Saturday, but now it's going to be every Sunday, where we'll be bringing some of the top black business people in the world, and they'll be telling us how they did it and giving us ideas and tips about how we can do it as well.
Yeah, that's what's up. I mean, I've taken some time to, try to promote businesses that are out there, in the, the U.S. I have had, instances where, I'd spend like a whole month promoting, black businesses around the country, so to speak. And, I've kind of like read a couple of books in reference to, how to build businesses, and also, in reference to networking and things like that. I've kind of like, read stuff from, Dr. Claude Anderson in reference to that, and also, a few other people, and, having that type of, mentality to, one, promote businesses, but also support those businesses is something that we need to do as a people in order to, have ourselves be, stronger as a group of people.
Right, I agree. I totally agree with that.
So,
definitely do.
So, like, in some instances, I kind of like promoted, businesses that, dealt with like, clothing or, something that we like, because the thing about it is like, it seems like we've been consuming for a long time, like consumers, but we never, are producers, or we never like really own most of the stuff that, we buy as consumers. So I try to like promote stuff for like, those that, where it comes with clothing, shoes, or, anything with hair care or, something like that. And then build from there, because we spend a lot of that money towards that, but pretty much 99.9% of that money doesn't go back to us, because we don't go to those businesses that, where we have, those that produce clothes, shoes, and, does hair care, but we don't go to those businesses. So I'm trying to just promote the ones that we do have so that we'll, our people could go to those businesses instead.
Right. Well, that's the same thing that I try to do, is promote black businesses. I go around in juvenile halls and I talk to kids. I go to high schools, because one of the things that I found out is that most of our parents don't have the business savvy that we really need. And the ones who do have it, most of them move out of the community. They don't stay in the community to share the wisdom that they learn. They usually get their money and leave the community. And I felt that it was important that we start to share wisdom, with the community. And that's one of the things that I did. I made quite a bit of money when I was in the drug business. And people can say, well, it was drugs, so it was no big deal. But I took $125 and I was able to turn that into making as much as $3 million a day sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was doing it, I didn't think it was a big deal. But after I was in prison and I started to study business, to do any business where you can take $125 and turn it into $3 million a day sometimes is a big deal. then when you look at the fact that I was uneducated, my mom was on welfare, didn't know my father. That even increases it even more. When I look at life, I say I'm probably gonna be the first person ever to be a billionaire that was also on welfare at one time. I don't know of anybody else that did that. But I'm also in the cannabis industry right now. I want a cannabis license here in LA. That's coming along very well. I have my own brand of marijuana products. I have my own clothing line that very small though. Right now just t-shirts, sweatshirts. But my goal is to eventually add all the products that we use as Black people.
Now, the thing with the marijuana business. Now, you say that you have something there where you would have like a product. Is that able to like say, well, over there in California, like at the very least, like you could have it in stores in California, correct?
Correct.
Now, have you
only California?
Yeah, only California there.
Only California.
Yeah, because I know that
every state has their own rules. So
yeah, as I know that like over in the DC area, they do have their good amount of stores in the DC area too, but I'm not sure like how they do things as far as like getting products over there. Like if they're like a vendor and stuff like that.
Yeah. You have to manufacture it in the state.
Yeah. So that's the thing about it is like if you have like a product that could be manufactured in another state, then that could be a way to have like another a location where that product could be sold. But like you said, the way that the rules are right now currently, it's not like you could just have something in one spot and then be able to easily do it someplace else. It that has like so many obstacles there. But I think that's kind of one thing that is a setback is that you could have your ways to like do a business there in one state, but if you're not able to expand it to other states where you could even be more successful, that kind of like limits you as far as like
not only with that, but right now it's not federally illegal.
Yeah.
So you can't cross state lines. But not only that, but we don't have any banking. You're not supposed to put marijuana money inside of a bank, which makes it a tough business as well.
Yeah.
You can't take credit cards. So those are some of the hurdles that we're dealing with now, which we hope once Biden and Kamala Harris wins, that they'll make it federally legal, marijuana, because the country's gonna need something to bail it out of this financial crisis that we're gonna find ourselves in. I believe with them giving out all this pandemic money is gonna send the dollar plummeting. The dollar's gonna lose tremendous value. And I hate to see our people out here getting that money just blowing it. I mean, they're literally just throwing the money away. And I hate to see that.
I mean, yeah, it seems like the dollar and the value of the dollar is, kind of, in limbo right now. And I'm not sure, how it is over on that side, but, over here, you can't really, use, dollars that much. from a retail standpoint, or in a transaction standpoint. I know that you can't use change in many places. Um, like if you have change, you can't use that to pay for stuff in some places. So it's kind of like an option that's out the window out there. So
Well, it's probably only going to get worse. The more they print up the dollars, the worse it's going to get. Now here they're going to print up another $2 trillion for stimulus.
for the stimulus thing.
Try to prop up. Yeah, to try to prop up the economy.
Well, I mean, for me, I don't even know what happened to the stimulus from the first part that was given to the states. Because I mean, like states got billions of dollars, but I don't even know where that went. So it's a crazy situation there, man. I wanted to like kind of like touch on another thing here with your history, because the last time we like spoke at length, you were talking about being a tennis player and how that kind of like you know built up like your thinking skills, or like your on the fly thinking skills. So I wanted to like get back into that, and like how that you know kind of like built your life at that particular point up to now. Like how is it, because you say like you still play tennis off and on, right?
Yeah, with my baby, I got 2 kids that I teach, so I do play with them.
Yeah, so like how did that sport like affect you over the course of your life?
Well, tennis is a thinking man's game. I mean, tennis is just a great sport all the way around. It's one of the best cardios. I've read in magazines where they say that it's the best cardio that a person could get, because you're using your whole body. You're running, you're jumping, you're twisting, you're turning. You're getting a complete workout in. But not only that, I also found out is that it helps you with your thinking, because you have to think on the move. You're thinking while you're running. You're calculating, and tennis helps with all that. So it's just a great game for kids to be a part of. And I was fortunate enough that I got introduced to it at an early age.
Yeah, I feel you. Now, with that, like you said, you were able to, kind of like build, thinking skills. It's almost like playing chess out there, but it's like a physical form of chess, so to speak. You got to be able to calculate the right move before the ball gets to you. So once that ball does approach you, then you could just be able to counter the move that your opponent gave to you. So I feel like tennis is almost a way of like playing chess out there, so to speak.
Absolutely, because you have to anticipate. You're anticipating. You're also setting things up for the future. Just like in life, like you should be setting things up right now for your future, what's to come, and you have to do the same thing in tennis. So it's amazing how similar tennis is to life.
Yep. True that. Now, you also, have like other, projects going on. I think, like, wasn't there like something in the works for like a movie or a documentary of some sort?
Yeah, we just finished with the script for a motion picture. So right now the investors are going over it, trying to give it the final approval. Once that happens, we'll be out casting.
So that thing there with that, so you've been in the works for that for like the past couple of months? Mm.
I've been working on this movie maybe 22, 23 years.
Ooh. Wow. Wow. So I mean, this
Yeah,
is.
I was working on it with the late George Jackson. And George Jackson was working on it. There's been a couple people that was working on it with me that are no longer here today.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working on it for a long time. But I refuse to allow somebody to come in and just because they have the money to do it, to take my story and do it the way they want to. I have to be involved.
Yeah, yeah, and it goes back to what I said in reference to ownership, man. Like, you have to have the control over it, or else, someone else will, kind of like feel like, oh, you should do this, or you should do this, or this should be part of the story, or you should take this part out, and you don't want to have like someone, over you talking about your own story. That doesn't, that wouldn't make much sense, though. So as long as you're able to build it from scratch and everything, then you won't have anyone else have to say anything about it.
And it still got stolen from
Mm, man.
So even with doing that, doing everything the right way, still fighting up this battle. That systematic racism is a mother.
Right. Right. And that's like a huge obstacle right there.
And, my mom always said I was hard.
Hmm.
So, I don't really like playing by nobody else's rules.
I feel you.
I like to implement rules myself.
Gotcha.
And change the ones that I don't like. And if the rule I don't like, I'm gonna try to change it.
Yep. True that. Just seeing here, I kind of like didn't hear much of what you were saying in the last part. I don't know if like something was going on with your phone or whatnot. Hmm. Yeah, kind of. It sounds like your voice is kind of low there a little bit.
What was they talking about?
Yeah, that last part. I wasn't able to hear that.
I was saying, systematic racism is real.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and that's like a big obstacle that we've been dealing with for many years, and it's still present right now. So it's kind of like something that we got to be able to overcome and fight here. So the thing there with your project, like you said, about 22 or 23 years working on it, but you say it's soon to be in the it's going to be starting the casting stage, right?
Once we get approval from the investors, then we'll go to the cabinet.
Gotcha.
Anything that's working on will take time.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to also understand is that, this ain't instant potato. Add hot water and stuff. Sometimes let that thing simmer a little bit. Let it get right.
Yeah.
Let it heat up.
Yeah. True.
And that goes to everything. That goes for boxing too.
Mm-hmm.
I hear guys talking about they locked them out of the game. I can't get a fight. I said, well, you might not be able to fight the person you want to. Fight the person you can.
Yep, exactly.
I go will fight you.
Yep. You gotta.
Everybody. I don't want everybody but you. Now you're the only one.
Mm-hmm. Like you got to be able to find a way to get a fight, so one way or the other, you know. So it's like you can't, just sit around and say like, there's no fights out there for me. But I mean, if there's no fights out there for you, then in many cases you're not going to make any money. So like we were saying at the beginning, if you don't have those other projects that are going on for you to make money outside of the ring, then you're not making any money, period. So you got to be able to put yourself in a position to fight somebody. If you don't have anything else that you could, do in order to keep yourself afloat.
Yeah. And by the way, if there's anybody out there that want to fight, can't get no fight, you let me know. We got a lot of days coming up. We're going to be looking for good fighters. So, Instagram, Freeway Rick, Facebook, Freeway Rick Ross. On my website is freewayrickross.com. Hit me up at all.
Yeah, so freewayrickross.com. There, so I mean, people will be able to, visit that, and that will be something there for, like you said, you have various things going on that we're talking about. So that, if there's any fighters there that are, interested, then they could, just go on and be, you're involved there with you. Now, I know that, we talked about you potentially being or working with, I think it was like some other like promotional or management company in boxing.
Yeah.
Or through MTK Global. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking for about 4 months now. And I don't know if you know, but they're trying to make an implant into the U.S. market.
Mm-hmm.
And they've asked me to be a part of the team, which I'm excited about. I think they would be a great fit for me. We just have to sit down and discuss all the particulars.
I feel you. Yeah, MTK Global, they are involved with a few notable fighters over across the pond in the UK. So I think we had a couple of those fighters here that were recently in fights. I think was it like a Carl Frampton was involved with them, and I think also was it Mick Conlon maybe. So they're trying to have more people there come over here in the U.S. and kind of like have some things going on in the U.S. But they do have a good amount of fighters that are there over in the UK or over in Ireland. But like I said, they want to see if they could get something to the point where they're involved in the US, and they could add a few people that could be part of that team, part of that management team or promotional team, and being able to get fighters here in the US that could have some action going down here when it comes to the sport of boxing in the U.S. So that would be a opportunity there for you to, have your name out there in the boxing game, and for boxers to have their name out there in the boxing game.
And they just signed, they just signed the kid out of Baltimore. They were talking about on ESPN yesterday. Truck. I don't know Truck's real name, but he's a highly anticipated prospect that's coming up. I think he's like 8-0, 9-0. He's fighting out of Baltimore too.
Oh man, I may have. may have like heard about that name. Lorenzo Simpson. I think it's Lorenzo Simpson. Yeah. So yeah, I think yeah.
He announced on ESPN yesterday that he just signed with us.
Yeah, they yeah, that was like a few days ago that they signed Lorenzo Truck Simpson. So and I think they also have super featherweight champion Jojo Diaz as well. So yeah, he has like Jojo Diaz, Lorenzo Simpson, and I think it's Jonathan Lopez, a young fighter out of Puerto Rico, that's signed there with MTK Global. So they're getting those few fighters there, and then you're able to get the ones that you have with you, on to fight within that MTK Global banner. Then it'll be a lot of action that could happen here within the United States.
Me and one of my partners, we're working to start doing 2 fights a month in Mississippi.
Mm.
So we're gonna probably be doing like 2 fights every single month, and we got a budget right now that'll carry us for 4 years. So won't be no fighters who don't get paid, and all that other stuff that we have to keep skipping out on people.
Mm-hmm.
We have the money to back us for at least 4 years. So our goal is going to be to build fighters up, help fighters, who can fight once a month. You want to fight once a month? Come on, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
No, we may not be giving you the kind of money that you'll get on ESPN or Showtime, but we'll keep you busy.
Right. And I think there was like one person that I'm involved with that kind of like frequents that area. So he once you get that thing going in Mississippi, he'll definitely be able to spread the word out there within Mississippi or within the southern region about the action that goes down there in reference to that. So that's going to be a good little thing there for young boxers or those that are just starting out in the pro game to kind of like get their start there in the Mississippi area right there. So that's going to be really good as far as like that particular project there. Like you said, I mean, you have the budget for it, so once they get all the approvals down and everything, then you'll have, like you said, what is that, about 2 fights a month, right?
Well, what we ready for now is pretty much the coronavirus loosen up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to do ours with fans, and we don't really want to do it without fans because we don't have TV.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, if you don't have that, type of TV deal, then you would need, a gate in order to, get that money back in there. Because regardless of.
We believe the TV deal is gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
We believe the TV deal is gonna come, but we're gonna start without it.
Gotcha. That had me thinking, because you working with former world champion Austin Trout, and Trout was in a fight that was with I think it was like Impact Network or something like that.
Yeah. I help with that too.
Yeah. So there could be instance there where maybe you could kind of like once that thing is kind of pushed out there for the boxing series to start in Mississippi, that you could present it out to someone like the Impact Network for them to like kind of get into that, because they were invested into the sport of boxing there, as far as like showing fights and things like that.
I think they plan on doing 25 shows once the virus clears up.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's
I know the owner.
yeah, that's
I
a
know the owner.
yeah, that's a good amount of fight cards there for him. So that would be very
So
good.
we definitely have we definitely can get fighters to fight. That's what they want. You know, if you're looking for $1 million check from me, don't call. I don't have it. But if you're looking for somebody that can help you, that'll be willing to stand in the trenches with you, then I'm your man.
Right.
I'm gonna go to bat with you. You know, I'm gonna help you get that $1 million. That I'm not the one.
Right. Right. It's not like, you're gonna have, that $1 million up front. That's not, basically what this is. This is basically a building program for you to start. And then as long as you follow the path, then you'll be able to, get that opportunity to make that million that you kind of seek there. You just can't, you know, get into something and then, basically say, okay, I'm making this $1 million right here, right then and there. It doesn't really work that way, you know. So
Right, you ain't want to fight. You ain't want to fight.
yep, like like you haven't, done anything to, get yourself into a fight, winning a fight, no type of buzz whatsoever. And then you expect to, get a lot of money out of that. Like doesn't quite work that way. I've never, seen it done in any form or any fashion in the professional boxing game. So,
No sport.
yeah, no sport. Mm-mm. Oh. So that's the thing about it.
They pay LeBron James so much money because they know that he brings the eyeball. He puts butts in the seat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why they pay for that money. Guys who can't bring people to the arena, you can't get people to turn the channel. They're sitting on the bench and they ain't getting no money.
Right. Right. The thing there is like it's totally different from a LeBron James or like a James Harden or something like that compared to someone that's making the NBA league minimum, which is what about like maybe $250,000 if that, so it's a whole different animal.
From that to 40, you go from a guy making 250 to one guy making 28.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure out why.
Yep.
What's the difference?
Yep. Exactly.
And there's what lies in people.
Yep.
Floyd Mayweather's success. Why can Floyd get 300 million and the rest of these guys can't get 10 or 5?
Yeah.
Was Floyd that much better than him? And some of them say Floyd can't whoop him.
Right. They say that.
I don't know what the truth is about that.
Yeah, they say they can't do it, but the thing about it is, it doesn't matter for Floyd if you could beat him or not. You just got to be able to have the wherewithal to say, hey, I'm the best, but I could, do what it needs to be done in order for people to pay top money to watch me fight. That's the thing that Floyd Mayweather perfected, was that he was able to get, people to pay top dollar to watch him fight. And whether it's for, him to win or whether it was if he was going to lose, he still got those eyes to be out there to watch him fight. So he was able to perfect that, and nobody, has ever come close to equaling that right now. And he's, been out in the game for about 3 years.
Well, right now, imagine if Ali was around right now, how much money he would make.
Oof. He would surpass Mayweather, man. He would surpass Mayweather. Like he would be, he would be like one person that would like have the world stop to see him fight. That's how impactful he was.
But
Yeah. Yep.
Muhammad was no fool. He may not have known how to pick a manager. But one thing he knew was how to captivate the audience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it was radio, if it was TV. Even right now, every now and then somebody will send me a Muhammad Ali quote. And I'll be like, what the fuck? I never heard you say that before. You know, because something so profound. You know, about a week ago, one of my partners sent me a video, and Muhammad was on there, and he was talking to the reporter, who was a white reporter from one big news channel. And he said, well, you know, one day I was asking my mama, I said, Mama, why is everything white good and everything black is bad? And so the mama said, baby, no, it ain't like that. He said, yeah, Mama. He said, look at this here, look at this here. The white cat is good. The black cat is bad luck.
Yeah.
He said, the black cake is devil food cake.
Yep. Yeah, the white cake's angel food cake. Yep.
Yeah. He said, is there any black angels in heaven?
Yeah, man.
So, you know, when these dudes learn, man, how to become relevant, like, I haven't heard not one boxer speak out about the situation, you know, with the George Floyd and so forth. And, you know, nobody stepped up, you know, to make no move. You know? So we got to become citizens. You know, you can't just be some guy wearing gloves who's on an island, you know, by yourself. You know, where the only time, you know, be relevant to people is when you punch somebody.
Right. Yeah, I thought that, you know, that the whole thing with George Floyd would be, an opportunity for, you know, these boxers to speak out. I mean, I only heard about, you know, maybe two fighters, you know, one here in the U.S. and one in the U.K., but, you know, nothing where it was, you know, kind of like a level of, like you said, a Muhammad Ali or someone like a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or a Bill Russell or Jim Brown or something like that, where they didn't just, you know, make statements. They were out there visible, you know, doing protests and that type of thing. You know, you know, like.
Them dudes took the chance on getting beat with sticks and canes.
Yep.
Could you imagine if they had it easy, if we got it right now, what it would be? You know, those guys went through hell back then, and they didn't even want them going to white schools. They probably didn't even want them playing against the white school. 90 seconds. And if they won, you know what they got. If they won, you know what they got. At the very least, sit on.
Right.
Then when the police got there, they probably clubbed you a couple times.
Yes. Yeah, it's nuts, man.
The police probably say, nigga, you call us on the blue white boat?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean,
hey, man, brothers had it hard in this country, man. Look, I was handcuffed when they called me, they finally trapped me. And I knew I was trapped. So I didn't want to die. I ain't never wanted to die. So when I knew I was trapped, I got down on my knees, put my hands on my head. They cuffed me up, tied my feet up with that little thing, and sipped the dog on me.
Oh, goodness.
Is that cold?
Yeah.
Hey, don't sit the dog on me when I got my hands. At least give me a fighting hand.
Right.
No. They let me surrender. Get on my knees, my hand on my head, let them cuff me. And that's when they take the dog on. When I was totally helpless. Nowhere to run. Nowhere to defend myself. But that's how they treat us in this country. That's how they have to treat us. So when you talk about the great, you talk about the people who molded me. You know, those were the people who I looked up to. Those are my idols.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that I wish I would have paid more attention to. So sometimes we pay attention just a little bit. We should be giving it our undivided attention. There's a difference between attention and undivided attention. So some of our fighters, they don't know about that undivided attention. They go to a boxing match holding a baby. When I get ready to go to war, I want my baby tucked away.
Right.
Somebody that I know got her back. Because I know that when I go to war, I may not come out. But every time you step in that ring, you could die.
Yep. That's right.
You could literally die up in that ring. So every time that you go in there, you should go in there with the mindset that this could be the day that I die. And when I sold drugs, I felt like that. Every time I touched drugs, I went, this could be the day that could be the day the police come and take it away forever. So when I did it, I was trying to be clicking on every cylinder. Because I didn't want my downfall to be because I wasn't prepared. See, I did that one time in like lieutenant. I would prepare and have some great days and just do nothing. Do what everybody else is doing. Just do exactly what you see everybody else doing. See, nobody never told me that if you do the same thing that they do, you're going to get the same thing that they got. In order to have something different, you have to do something different.
Exactly.
So, there it is.
Yeah, and it, you said a lot right there, man, as far as like, you know, what you went through and, you know, who you were idolizing back then, and, you know, how, you know, those symbols, you know, how they were able to stand out back then, but you don't really have that now. Nobody really stands out. You know, nobody really speaks to.
Most of these dudes, so scared. They scared. I think some of these dudes, when they first meet me, I know how much they love me. Like, I know when you love me. I know when you love and respect me. I know that. And when I meet them, they show me so much of that. But then all of a sudden, when I get in their ears and I start pressing them, and then they bosses don't like that. Or they owners. What they call them, stable.
Stables or promoters, you know, like, you know, promoters or other managers, basically.
Promoters, what they got, stable, they call them a stable?
Yes.
I wouldn't want to be labeled as nobody's stable. I'm sorry, I wouldn't want to be stable. I don't give a fuck who. Sounds too much like an animal. They put horses in stables.
Right. Yeah.
Come on, man. Who uses that kind of language talking about a tent.
Right.
They would never say they had Muhammad Ali in their table. Never.
Never. They wouldn't say that about Ali or George Foreman or Vander Holyfield or Riddick Bowe or none of those fighters. It wouldn't say that.
I work with Holyfield. I used to be a fan.
Yeah.
I hear him talking about he's in my stable. I'm in his stable.
Yeah, like how does that work? You know, like like you said, I mean,
We allow that I didn't know they even allowed that kind of shit in America. I would call that pimping. You know where I'm from, we would have called that pimping.
Yeah. Yeah, basically that's kind of that's kind of what it is in some ways, man. Like I just don't understand it, but it kind of like goes into the whole.
Hey, that's what parents call the whole routine in my stable.
Yep, that's true. That is true. Like, hey, I got this whole roster here. This my stable. Like, what? Yep. Oh, man. It'd be like, man, I got a whole stable full of hoes. Like, oh man, like yo, that's yo. Yeah. Yeah, man. But yeah, now they
Some of the stuff I want to change, man. Change your name.
Yeah.
Come on, let's change that name. We ain't gonna use that time anymore. It sounds great.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of like, how they had they keep using that term, what is it, like stallion or whatnot?
Yeah.
Like, how are you gonna describe yourself with a word that means a male horse? I don't understand it. It's just crazy to me. But this is, kind of like what goes on sometimes, and like you said, I mean, you gotta be able to change that mentality, and you gotta be able to do things like say, hey, this is not how it goes. Like this is like ain't you won't get nowhere like being like this. So I was like,
no.
The whole thing with the stable.
Hey, you gonna be tapped in forever.
Yep. That's very true. That is very true, man.
Hey, listen, Angie, when we love them, after seeing them show the ropes already.
Yeah.
On your shit.
Yep.
Own as much as you can. You can't own all of it, own as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
That's why my movie ain't out. That's why my movie ain't out right now. I told him I don't want to be famous. I want to be rich.
Yep.
And y'all got this shit twisted. I made myself famous. I didn't need y'all for that.
Right, exactly.
So if you want to do something for me, make me rich.
Yep. That's true.
If you can't do that, tell me when you get your shit together.
Yeah.
Because mine is tight.
True.
I work on mine all day and all night.
Yep. All day, every day, and
every day. It's my favorite pastime. Some people say, man, Rick, you work too much. I said, you call this shit work? I used to sell cocaine so I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah, like people know like what actual work is, but if you are doing something that you feel like is like a second nature to you, then it won't feel like work. So that's the thing about it.
What if you feel like it's gonna save your whole
Hmm. Yep. So
family? Or maybe some generations.
yeah. Yep.
You gotta come up with reasons for yourself. Don't come up with reasons why it won't. Come up with reasons why it should, why it has to,
Hmm.
why it's no retreat. When I'm tired, I gotta run one more mile.
Yep. It's the thing. It's like some saying. It's like, what's the difference between a reason and an excuse? It basically is none. So it's like it seems like a lot of people just want to, find out reasons why you don't instead of reasons why, like you said, like you should. You know?
No, you got to.
Yeah.
When I had that life insurance, I was in prison. I had to get it off.
Mm-hmm.
I had to.
Yeah, you didn't.
If I didn't get that off, my 8-year-old and 9-year-old wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it was destined for them to be here because they got a mission. Hey, I'm gonna get ready to go.
Yeah.
I'll be here talking for all night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely want to get you on.
And more importantly than that, the goal that you shared. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I want to let you know that.
Without a
I
doubt.
deeply appreciate it. All right.
All right. No doubt, my man. Like I said, always great speaking with you.
Nobody else can have you on the phone. All right.
All right.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, my man. Peace to you. So there you have it there, man. Freeway Rick Ross. They're on the line, and just was able to speak with them for a good little, hour 15. Like I said, about boxing, about business, about life, what he's been through in his many decades, man. I mean, he's been out there for a good minute out in the game, and now he was able to do what he did, um, in the streets, and was there in jail, got out of jail, and it was done very well for himself, and he has good amount of things that are coming up right now. We did talk about him, having a thing working with MTK Global in the sport of boxing. MTK Global has their presence over in the UK and in Ireland as well. And also, working on the documentary of his life. So that's going to be, in the works. Hopefully, by next year, it'll be, one step closer to being a reality. And he does, have his website, freewayRickyRoss.com. So you'll be able to find out everything that he's, doing there at freewayRickyRoss.com. He has, merchandise out there, clothing for you to look at, check out, buy, all of that. So be sure to visit that website, freewayRickyRoss.com there. So, like I said, very thankful for him to be part of this show, and thank for everyone that was able to listen in live. This will be available, through YouTube, and then I'll be able to have this on through iTunes as well. So be sure to check that out on iTunes. And just bringing a close to this particular podcast. There, thank for everyone that did listen in live. And I am the host of the Boxing Source Radio Show, so you'll be able to catch that at its regularly scheduled time, Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. There, so y'all be sure to check that out. And until next time, I will get at y'all later. Peace out.